That's enough of that, don't you think? How's everybody doing today? Give me a thumbs up or something when you hear sound coming out of my voice, because I've changed things up again. So yeah, it could be terrible. If I'm just making mouth movements and you can't hear anything, please tell me. Dragos is here. Nina's here. Ralph is here. Angie, did you get my email? Angie's our guest judge this month for the flower competition. Do you know who won? Yes, we've got a thumbs up, so we've got sound. Wonderful. Do you know who won the competition this month? The decomposition competition? That was, who won it? Patrick Stale won it. Our Swiss contingent, with an absolutely fantastic picture of a lung. Well, it wasn't a lung, it was a leaf, but it looked like a lung. Brilliant, lovely picture. Congratulations, Patrick. Well done. I knew you'd win that thing eventually, and I didn't know it was your picture. All right. Did you know, most people don't know this, but this is the beginning of Diffusion Week in Tuvalu, I think. Somewhere like that. Yeah, for the whole next week, all we do is talk about, we wear grass skirts and talk about softening light. That's what we're going to do today. And I've got a whole extravaganza set up. It's not really, it's just we're going over there, and the camera's pointed over there, so I don't have another camera pointed here, even though we have some things we have to do here. This is also a photographer's appreciation week. It's not, but I was testing it to see how it sounded. It sounds good. I think we should try it. During Photographer's Appreciation Week, if you were to put something in the super chat to get your question answered, that would be a good start. In fact, that would be the whole thing. That's the whole purpose of the Appreciation Day. There's something making noises outside my window. I hope it's just an animal and not an intruder or something like that. So we were talking about diffusion today, and there's a lot to talk about, actually, if you think about it. Diffusion's a fairly big topic. But what I did was I wrote a few really short articles about it over on MacroRails, macrorails.com. If you go over there, you'll see that there's some stuff on diffusion right there. And I talk a little bit about the art of diffusion, because it is an art. And we're going to be talking about that today. As well as giving you some recommendations for the diffusers that I like to use, and the ones I have used and maybe don't like so much, and that type of thing. Just the standard information on what's good and what's not out there in the world of diffusion, what you need, what you don't. Then I'm going to give you a couple of examples of why I think diffusion is so important. By the way, I could be showing you one of these articles as we're talking. That would be very atmospheric to do, wouldn't it? So this is one of the ones. I don't even know which one this is. Oh, this is, yeah, the when you want to buy some diffusion equipment. This is different ways you can do it if you're rich, and if you're not rich, and if you're very poor. So yeah, it'll be fun to look at. Good article, and some good pointers in there as well. So when we go over to the rig today, and I show you what we're going to be doing, I'm going to try to make it relevant for all the people that got this in the mail, which should have been today or yesterday or tomorrow. I sent out 48 packets of Mylar diffusion material. I think it's the best diffusion material in the universe. It's plastic, and it's kind of soft, and it holds shape though in other directions, and it diffuses light stunningly well. So I had a big roll of it that I didn't need the whole roll, so I was giving it away to people, and I sent it all over the world this week, and I'm almost out. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how with just 2 sheets of this stuff you can do a complete macro rig diffusion just with this. And yeah, all you need is a pair of scissors, the roll of tape that I've lost. Yeah, you need a roll of some kind of tape, a pencil, that's a pencil if you've got one. If you don't, use a pen. And that's it. That's all you need to do that. Oh, well, bendy arms. You need bendy arms, but I'll explain that when we get over there. So somebody asked me a question, and this is a pertinent question because I'm telling you guys to go over to Macro Rails and sign up for the newsletter. And when you're over there, you're probably going to just snoop around a little bit and look at a couple of the products, and you'll notice that I review them. That these are products that I've used and recommend. And somebody pointed out to me, I went over there and I looked at them, and they should win a Pulitzer Prize because they're fantastic reviews, which, thank you, that was very kind of you to say that. And yeah, but anyway, they wanted to know, why are they all positive? Why are your reviews all good? Well, that's a good question. You see, they're not all good. There are some that are better than others, but the ones that are really bad, well, I'm not putting those products over on the site because I don't want you to buy something that's rubbish, and I don't want to put something that's rubbish in the store over there and then say it's rubbish. That just seems wrong. So I don't do that. I'm going to give you an example though, because some people aren't quick at understanding this kind of thing. So I'm going to do an example that's a real life example. I'm going to tell you about a chisel. This is a chisel. It's made by, who's it made by? Jorgensen. Pony, if you're in Canada, I think. And it's a nice chisel. It's a workman's chisel. It's a heavy duty one. It's 1/2 inch. It's made of heat treated steel. It's very, very sharp. I hand sharpen mine myself, and it holds a mirror-like blade like that for days of work, and it sharpens nicely and it stays sharp. It's got a nice metal butt on it for whacking it with a hammer. It's a good chisel. It's also inexpensive. It was like $15. It's ridiculously good for that price. So this is something I'd recommend to anybody. I mean, I haven't, and I didn't, and you can't go see a review of it because I don't do chisels. I'm a photographer. But if I did, this would get a good review. As an example of the other end of this is also by Jorgensen. This is a plain. It's orange. There we go. Also, the thread on the frog stripped, so you can't tighten it. So you can't plane with it, which makes it orange, basically. Okay, you see the difference? Did you sense there was something different in the tempo of the second one? That would be a bad review. Okay, what were we going to talk about today? I sense I'm on the cusp of remembering. Something to do with diffusion, wasn't it? So those of you who were worried about the lamb chops that I lost on Sunday, I found them. Don't worry about it. Well, I didn't find them. The police found them when they were investigating the odor coming from my garage. But we got them. Does anybody want to buy a BMW? It's fairly old. Needs a good wash. Very good wash. Okay, let me see. Best wishes and get well quick to Baconmeister. There you go. That's all we need to say. Wish him well, guys. He's recovering, and needs our cheering up. Okay. And let me see who's here today. I need to say hi before I wander over there, because when I go over there, I can't see over here. I need another laptop or one that follows me, or something. I need to figure this out. I left it too late today to figure out how I could actually know what I was doing from over there, because I can't do things like this. See, that doesn't look like much from there, does it? That's because that's going to be my face in a minute. In fact, that doesn't look right at all for that, so we might not be looking at that one. And then there's this is where we're going in just a second to talk about the rig, show you some diffusion stuff, okay? So before we get to that, let me see, there was one other thing. It's very important, so let me look at my notes while you're staring at my rig over there. It's I think I told you about the competition winner, didn't I, Patrick? Yeah. You know that this month's flowers, and Angie is one of the nicest flower photographers. No, that didn't sound right. She is nice, and she is a flower photographer, but she takes gorgeous pictures of flowers, and she has agreed to judge with me this month. So at the end of the month, she and I will go through all the flower pictures, pick out the winners, and then we'll do a video together, judging them and awarding the prize. The prize is going to be a lens, I think. This was the prize. Oh no, the prize last month was a lens. This month was a lens, and next month is a lens. This is the prize for this month. It's an EL Nikkor, an enlarger lens. Isn't that nice? Thanks to Bob Wester for that, who he donated just a lot of lenses, fantastic lenses. So yeah, there's all kinds of great prizes coming up. You know what's coming up in June is the stereo competition. And somebody submitted a stereo image yesterday not yesterday, before yesterday, for the competition. And it was a thing with a berry inside it. It was some kind of a plant thing. Didn't look very decomposed, but it was a beautiful stereo image. And I can't remember who did that, but I showed it to Rick last night, and he looked at it and said, "Wow, that was a fantastic stereo picture." That's incredible for him to say that. So yeah, you need to practice, because people are out there have been working on this, and it's going to be spectacular in June. All right, enough talk about that kind of stuff. Let's talk about diffusion. What is it? What is diffusion? Diffusion is a way for us to modify the light that we use in our photography. Do you need it? Well, no, not necessarily. You can take pictures without diffusion. We're going to talk about macro. I think we should, because certainly we're used to not using diffusion for other things. But when we're either in the studio or out in the field, we have the choice whether we diffuse our artificial light or diffuse the natural light. If there's plenty of that around, we can do that too. The question is, do we need to, and what difference does it make? In a minute, I am going to show you a bug that I shot. This is a Canadian bug. It doesn't speak a word of American. And I photographed it without diffusion, then I photographed it with diffusion. And the difference is spectacular. And I am not kidding when I say I just did it like in the last 30 seconds before I came on. I just finished retouching it in Zerine and putting it up. And I'm going to show it to you in a minute, but I want to show you the bug first, because there's a metaphor in the bug. Did you know that some bugs have metaphors in them? This one does. So we're going to talk about that as well. What should we start with? You know what? We're going to start with the city down bit, because I'll otherwise run out of time to do that. This is for those of you who got mylar in the mail. Mail mylar, we could call it. We're going to take 2 sheets, and your sheets are going to be worse looking than these, because these I cut specially for myself with a razor blade, so they're nice. Yours will be this shape, but raggedy. Some of them will be. So we're going to take these, and we're going to diffuse 3 MF12s, but it would work for any 3 flashes. And we're not going to use the MF12 flash's own diffusion cap, though I honestly recommend you do for the first layer, because it's so easy and it's in the right place, so why not use it? But I'm going to assume you've lost yours and you want to make them out of your set here. So the easiest way to do this is to, first of all, we're gonna make the diffusers for the MF12s. That really doesn't need to be anything more than 3 short strips of the diffusion material. It needs to be wider than the MF12, so about that wide. And then this stuff is hard to cut because it's plastic, it's not paper. And then cut that in half into about square should be fine. These are the sizes you're going to be using for everything except the last piece. So we'll cut one more just like that. So you've got these squares. Now all you do is you take a piece of, this is where I knocked the camera over. You know what? I'm gonna, no I'm not gonna point that camera elsewhere because I'll mess it up. Let me just get a piece of sticky tape out of here. Okay, this is double-sided. Don't use double-sided. It sticks to everything. But I can't find the regular stuff. It's probably over there. All you do with these is you grab your MF12, which I had a spare one. I can't find it. Pretend this is an MF12 and the light comes out of that edge. Take your square, stick it above the MF12 like that, sorry. And then below the MF12 like that. Use Gorilla Tape, it holds. See, like that. That's all you got to do. Square that size is perfect, and that will give you the same amount of reduction in exposure as the things that come on it, okay? And do that 3 times, and then you've got them all covered. Then you go on to the second piece, which is actually the third piece. It's the last piece, because that's probably the most important. And that's where you have to take your other sheet and cut it. Actually, you don't have to cut it, but I'm going to preserve mylar. Cut it about there. What you're going to do is you're going to make a dependent tunnel, a hangy-downy tunnel. You need a bigger piece of tape. Gorilla Tape is better than this, the black stuff. Fold it like that. Bam, stick the middle bits together with your thumbs. So you've got that. No, it all stuck together. I'm going over there to get the tape in a second, but you'll have tape stuck to the top, okay? Trust me, I'll show you in a second. It's something like that, okay? And this, on a bendy arm, lowers down all the way over your stage, your subject, everything. It gets between the light and any part of your subject, your flower, your piece of jewelry, your bug, whatever. The most important layer is the third layer if you choose to use one. You might not need one. And that is what you do with these pieces that are left over. These have to go halfway between the first and the third diffusion layer, which means you need bendy arms or the things I'm going to show you over there. I did this in 10 minutes and I did it with stuff I found lying around in here. Now, I'm a photographer, so there was a lot of that kind of stuff lying around. This is the studio after all, but the point is, I didn't go out and buy anything. I just used, you'll see, it's all kinds of bits and pieces that will work perfectly to position this in between the 2 layers of diffusion. It gives a third layer. Every time light passes through this, only some of it goes through unimpeded. The part that doesn't go through unimpeded is either reflected, some percentage of it, and that's going to drop the intensity of the light, and that gets through is going to be scattered. And it's scattered depending on the material. And there are other things that contribute to nice soft light, other than just this. The bigger your light and the further away it is, the better. We don't have the luxury of using a big ball of light from a studio flash 50 feet away. We can't do that. We're working in small quarters, so we have to use a smaller light than we would like, and it's not as far away as we would like, so we have to get really creative with the diffusion. That's why I use 3 layers. By the time the light has gone bam into the first one and showered out, the light that's left hits the second one and it does the same, and then it hits the third right before the subject. If you imagine you're the subject in that tube, what do you think you see? You would probably see, if there was just, say, a tube of paper around you, you'd see a flash right through the paper, a bright spot that would burn your retinas, and you'd see it. You'd see it for each of the flashes, and you'd remember it. Our goal is that the bug or the whatever inside the tunnel is going to see the tunnel light up for an instant, the whole tunnel. When that happens, the light is coming from everywhere, if you're the bug. And that kind of light wraps around the subject. It makes for soft edges. It makes for gentle shadows. And it really, it's like having a paintbrush in photography, because you can paint on the light as subtly or as gently as you like, or as brazenly and aggressively as you like. But how you place those layers of diffusion is the whole secret to it. I'm tempted to show you the pictures before we go over there. No, we're going to go over there first, because I want you to see what it is we're photographing. You know what? I've just had an even better idea. I'll show you what we're going to photograph here, then I'll show you the pictures, then we'll go over there. Because it is kind of, you might be falling asleep now, and if you don't feel that what I'm saying is relevant, this might help. I doubt it, but it might. This is a tiger beetle. Now, I may have the name wrong. I think I've got the fact that it's a saint correct, though. Robbie sent me these, and I think he called them St. Anthony's something or other tiger beetles. But they're a lovely brown tiger beetle. As they dry, they get lighter brown. But they're brown. You know? Do you find brown exciting? Do you have a lot of brown slacks? I don't have any brown slacks. I don't like brown. I think it's very boring. It lacks character. Well, so do these, and they're a bit odd to look at, because they're you know that they're pretty up close, right? So I took a picture of this part of the beetle. I have been photographing the snot out of these beetles, and I photographed every inch of them in the last 2 weeks. Every inch, every micron. I photographed this. This piece of its back, right where the head and the thorax and the abdomen come together, the elytra, the parts that cover the wings in the middle. I photographed them. I'm going to show you a photograph with no diffusion that was shot with 3 lights on my regular rig, with the regular camera, with a 10x objective on a perfect setup that's just exactly what I would want to shoot with. And I should have probably got this. Oh, I just opened up the thing and there's a tiger beetle on Photoshop. Would you like to see that too? Yeah, we'll look at that as well. This is just so entertaining, having all of these pictures to look at. So this is one from underneath. Doesn't tell you very much, because we're photographing the thing's back, but you can see the colors already. So let's go to Lightroom and take a look. So this is the one that, let's look at that full screen. So that's the one that I took, and you probably would look at that and say, my God, that is not brown. Well, it's not brown, but that's what brown is made up of, and that's what these tiger beetles look like at 10 times magnification. They're absolutely breathtakingly stunning. I mean, the colors are superb. But just take my word for it, the colors are not, they're better than that. They're a lot more subtle than that. That is a very glaring, bright picture. If you look very, very closely, and I don't think, well, you can get pretty close. These things that look like balls of color are actually cups of color, and the cups are hollow, and the inside of them is colored, and each one is colored differently: dark blue, light blue, turquoise, yellow, red, pink, orange. It's amazing. They are actually that color. And you might think, well, that is a fantastic, I love that picture, those colors, fantastic, love it. Let me show you what it's supposed to look like, because I shot this other picture last night, and I did it with full diffusion. I told you I shot a lot of these things. Did it with full diffusion and modified the light so that it showed the shape of these cups. by having soft, gentle light, you can see the subtle variations in the color, the way the ridges and the cups are bunched up against each other. You can't tell any of that. And this is also at 10 times magnification with the same lens, only this was shot with well diffused light, 3 layers in this case. And yeah, this is a much better picture in my opinion. And it's worth bearing that in mind when we go over there, because doing it right is going to bring alive your subjects, whether they're insects or not. So that's cool. I wish I had all day to show you all the other pictures I've taken of these tiger beetles, because I think I'm up to over 100 high magnet. Well, I will show you one other. I will. I shouldn't, but I will. I'm going to show you a collection of tiger beetles that I've been working on. So far, 38 of them. There they are. Would you like to see them a bit bigger? Possibly you would. Each one of these is shot at high magnification and is just full of detail. I mean, they're they're pretty impressive photographs, and there's 60 of them in total. Look at those colors. You wouldn't get those colors if you weren't diffusing the light. You'd get a lot of glary reflections. Anyway, was that me showing off a little bit? That was, wasn't it? That was not very humble. I think I'm happy about these pictures, is why I showed them. Shall we go over to the thing? I think we will. Let me figure out what button I need to press to go over to the thing. It's not that one, it's the next one I press. Yeah, I'll go over there. Now, the microphone over there is different, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking. I've checked it already, I tested it, and it worked. But that usually means it won't work when I'm actually doing it. So I'm going to go over there and start talking, and then I'm going to come back over here and look, and somebody give me a thumbs up if you hear my voice from over there, okay? Fair enough? Let's go. Let's go look at the rig, and let me get my Mylar. I hope my tape's over there, or this whole thing is going to be a major flop, and we won't win an Emmy. I think there's a good chance we won't win an Emmy anyway, but there you go. I've forgotten what I've called the camera over there. I think I've called it that. Yep. Ooh. See, somebody needs to invent a way. Can you see me over there? Somebody needs to invent a way for me to know that you can hear me, because I can't see the computer. It's pointed the wrong way. I could turn it around though, couldn't I? All right, so are you familiar with this? This is my rig here, one of them. I've got a different setup than you're probably used to seeing for a 10x objective. I know there's a lot of stuff in the way, but I wanted to put the lights where they need to be. I'm going to go and check and make sure you can hear me. I'll keep talking though. We'll get quiet. Nope, nobody hears me. Nope. I'm just going to assume that you can hear me, because otherwise I'll go mad. Nobody had given me a thumbs up, so we don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the actual way I would set up the diffusion layers and what that would look like. And it does look a little bit like the Sydney Opera House when you get it all finished, because you have a lot of this is pointing right in my face. Very troubling. It's messy looking, but it's worth it. Definitely worth it. There's a tiger beetle on there, the one that I just showed you. Would you like to see how brown it is? I don't want to move it. Well, I could show you on the thing. I don't know if you can even see this. Probably not, but we'll try. There you go. That's the picture that we were looking at. There. I hope that shows up. Let's begin then with the clippy on things. You are fine can't see me, can you? That's okay. You are fine to use these if you want, because they go on, they stay out of the way, and they do give a good layer of diffusion. But if you don't want to, use the small squares. These things. You know, I haven't even said hi to people yet. Hi everybody. And my tape really is missing. I could have sworn I put it over here. Well, I'll pretend then until I see it. It's like this. Here's one up here. Here's one of the flashes. So I would stick it on there with the Gorilla Tape, and that would be all there would be to it. Dead simple to do. If you have tape. You would think I just had never prepared for one of these before, wouldn't you? But, well, yeah, you might be fairly close to warm there. I'm going to wander back over and take a quick peek at the thing to find out whether or not you're hearing me, and then I'll come back with the tape. Loud and clear. Brilliant. Loud and clear, but no tape. Did one of you come in here and tape the tape? You know, it might be in the kitchen. Hang on. You know, you can't. Oh, there it is. I found it. Very not professional. I'm going to point the microphone a little bit more to where I'm standing. Hang on a sec. You might hear some untoward noises. There we go. So I'm going to move some of this out of the way so that you can see. We've got three lights. Three lights. All three of them are at varying distances from our subject. We got one about 12 inches away, one about 3, and one about 4. That's a bit close. You don't have to be that close. You can get away with using lights, you know, twice as far away. Remember, that's going to be a fourth of the energy. Inverse square law. The further away you get, the bigger the detriment in terms of light intensity. So the first part is the easy part. You put something on your flashes. The second part, I'm going to pause for just a second. I get asked this question a lot. What is the difference between what I'm doing here and a $150 MagMod kit? Nothing. Nothing really. They do the same. They block and scatter the light. So why would you need to buy one when you can just get free vellum from free mylar from me? Well, you don't have to. That's the point. But there are some very legitimate reasons to have, and I have loads of mini softboxes and MagMod like things that I use. But I use them when I need them. I don't use them as a routine. I prefer this. This does a better job. But if I'm out on a windy day, I don't want to have a bunch of bits of paper lying around that I have to stick to my lights. If I'm here in the studio and it's a super crowded set and I'm in a big hurry, I will pop on pre-made diffusers. Sure, they all work. They all do the same thing. The cheap ones, they neither diffuse the light or pass clean light through. They'll color it, that type of thing. So let's do the tunnel, because that is really a crucial part of this. Getting the, you can't probably see that from where you are. Should I try to zoom in? I need a cameraman, or a camera lady. Let's try that. No, I'm already zoomed in. But you can actually see it from there. So you take your, and there's a big roll of tape. It would have bitten me if it was a snake. So we'll take a piece of this tape, but I recommend using see-through sellotape, not this. If you're going to use a not see-through tape, use the black Gorilla Tape, because it will last forever. The beauty of mylar is it doesn't tear and it doesn't lose its diffusion and it holds sticky tape better than paper does. And it's free if you happen to find a roll of it at the junk shop. So there you go, that's it. That's all there is to this. It is that simple. If you used heavy vellum, it would look like that at this point. You'd have to roll it to get it to look like that. This is exactly what you want, coming all the way down in the front and pinching. I have a bendy arm on a super clamp. This is the magic combo right here. I have loads of these, and this is the positioner of choice because it's skinny, it stays out of the way, and it's so easy to just clip on like that. And then I position it, usually standing there. I bring it over my table, over my XYZR table, and slide it forward like that until everything is covered. I may lower it a bit or raise it a bit. I look through the lens to see is the white showing anywhere. That's a no-no because it'll blow the whites out. So you just layer it over like that. And if you've got lights from underneath, like I often do, that's why you need that curling under. And that is the second layer or the third layer of diffusion. How do we get the last layer on? Well, this is the trickiest part, and it's something I don't do every time. Hang on a second, I think I just saw Baconmeister's name when I was over there checking for sound. That's wonderful that you're back on the Baconmeister. Good, congratulations. I'm glad to hear that. All right, so what we need to do is find a way to position a piece of diffusion between this and this, because if we leave it just like this, we're going to have a bit of a hot spot from this short distance. So all I would do is I'll take a small piece, small enough to, you know the light is going to spread out, but it's also going to spread out and most of it is going to be lost. It's not coming back. You've already weakened it considerably. So what you really need to do is just diffuse the stuff that is still going forward. So it doesn't need to be a gigantic sheet. I'll take one of these and I will pinch it in a corner like that. I hope that's showing up. And in this case, I'm just using an articulating arm because I wanted to show you don't need bendy arms. Maybe you're allergic to bendy arms, but this is the important part. I am putting it between the two layers and it is equidistant. In this case, it's an inch each side. That is important. If you put it right here, you've just put a double layer of diffusion on this, which is fine, but it doesn't do the same thing. And what you need is the softness you get by having these separated. So I'd put that one right there, just like that, and tighten it. This is a device that I invented this morning and called the Small Rig Bilateral Double Diffusion Scaffold. I just made that up, but it's a good name for it, really. It's a thing that's got two nodules on it, and it's got a bendy arm on one, and I don't know what that is, a piece of bent metal that I found. But it's got a clip on the end. See, that's all you need. It's like I showed you this to show you that if you've got anything, you could use your. I found something for cell phones that you clip a cell phone on. It's got a long bendy arm, about 6 feet long. You could use that if you wanted. It doesn't really make any difference. Where did I put that thing? Because that was hysterical to look at. It was ridiculously long. And when your phone's on it, the thing just vibrates because it's so long. All right, so you've got a bendy arm there. That's obvious. You would just clip a piece for here. If you turn the piece, if it wants to curl in a direction, as they all do, if you turn it that way, it will bend with the curl, obviously. If you turn it that way, it'll lie flat if you have a small enough piece. And that is a nifty trick because it means I can take a piece that would otherwise be sagging and put it right there. See? Oh, except I'm coming unscrewed because I didn't tighten that very well. Hang on. There we go. So you can put it exactly halfway between your primary light and your last layer of diffusion. And the last one's the same. I've just put a couple of other things up here. This is a regular old, whoa, that was close, woodworking type clamp that I drilled a hole in the top of and put a 1/4 inch 20 thread bolt through it and screwed a bendy arm on it. That's one way to do it. Just anything you've got that's got a clip on one end and a clamp on the other will do it. The more astute among you are probably looking at this and wondering if I've invented a massager as well. No, this is a lens support for a mystery lens, a secret lens that I can't talk about. But it's obviously, it needs support, and this clips on the front there because this lens is huge. It'll be exciting when I get to tell you about that, but it's not right now. So how do you know when you've got the diffusion right? Well, it's a matter of having experience to know how much you need. If you've got a moth that's got fluffy scales all over it and hairy looking thing, nothing reflective on the whole beast, then you probably could get away with just the tunnel, or the tunnel and the caps on the little flashes. Then your goal needs to be to decrease the amount of light, not so much to soften it as just don't overexpose the light colored parts of the moth. But when you've got something that is nothing but mirrors trying to reflect specular highlights back into your camera, that's when you need this, because you want this light coming from every direction and soaking the subject rather than bombarding it with a wall of energy, which is what the light is. And the more effort you put into doing that right, the less effort you have to put into trying to fix things in post, which you will have to do. You're probably wondering, well, how does this translate to outdoors in the field? I'm a lot less concerned about how I diffuse in the field, just that I do diffuse. I have some layer between my flash and my subject that is going to scatter the light. So I usually would just use a double layer of diffusion material that would be taped over my speed light, and that was what I was going to show you, my other trick I was going to show you. I'll do that right while I'm talking. Let me get another sheet though. I would use a double layer that was made into a softbox. This would be if it was a not windy day. If I was having to hike a long way, I would favor using my homemade one. If I was right there by the car, I might favor going with the heavier but quicker pre-assembled thing. It's all up to your use case. Those MagMod type lights, they get, the diffusers, they get pretty heavy if you've got the full kit and it's tied to the back of your rucksack. If you don't need it, a couple of sheets of this weighs nothing. This is how you make a softbox if you end up needing a softbox out in the field and all you've got is your camping scissors. I told you this tape sticks well to it. All you've got is your scissors or a knife and one sheet of paper, and you want something that is going to stay on the flash, not blow off in the wind, and be secured. You'll have to have a roll of tape. Take that Gorilla Tape in your bag with you. All you do is this. Watch. This is close enough to a square. Cut out the four corners like this. I've shown you this before, but not in this context of being out in the field and just trying to get something to get you through. The neighbors are looking at me with an odd look of concern. If you leave this shaped like a rectangle and not a square, it makes a kind of a slight excuse me, makes a slightly longer softbox. I need to hire somebody to come help me do this. Do you think it would be very expensive? I mean, they'd only have to come for 2 hours a week. Then what you do is you take your tape, you put a tab on each of those arms, and I'll show you. I will actually show you. And you can leave this thing on if you want more diffusion. And what you'll do is you'll take your tape, which I've already lost again. You will stick one on the bottom, one on the top, and then one on each side like this. And if you use Gorilla Tape, that softbox is not going anywhere. And it will stay on all day long, and if it's made of Mylar, it might never come off. And what you can also do with the Mylar is you can stick a little tab of tape on the edges and seal the box off so that all the light coming out is controlled. One of the things that we need to talk about are the different types of diffusers. I'm going to go back over to the other place. Can you see that? Isn't that nice? Oh, my flashes have turned off. Okay, well, there you go. Oh, this place looks like a bomb went off in here. All right, Jiminy Cricket, that was... was I gone for that whole time, or did you see what I was doing? I do hope you saw what I was doing. I'm going to just hope that the microphone's working. All right, so there are a couple of distinctly different kinds of diffuser that are out there on the market. And knowing what they are and what's going on inside them is important to understand how you're going to use it. Some diffusers are just that. They are a blocking, like a flag, a device that blocks the light except the light that's going straight forward. And the light that's going straight forward passes through a layer of something. And it can be super expensive Lee 216 or 250 or some kind of multi-layered Roscoe fabric that does magical things with it. It doesn't do anything magical, it just diffuses the light, but that's one kind of diffuser. There's another kind, the kind I made actually years ago on this channel. I made a homemade diffusion thing that was very popular. I gave a bunch of them away. It was very nice. It was made of that foam that you walk on in the garage, the foam tiles, and the thing was kind of curve shaped and it fit on your speed light, but it was lined with a reflective metal tape. The idea being that it would kind of bounce the light forward to the screen that was this stuff. I think I've got one around here somewhere. I've still got several, but anyway, that has a tendency to have an unwanted consequence if you're not careful. If you use too much power, it can really concentrate the light onto the film at the front, and it can have the opposite effect of really softening the light. It can actually kind of focus it on your subject. So I've had some mixed results with that. When I'm out in the field, now I've been meaning to buy one of those thing that it looks like a medical device that you would strap on for things that needed it, but it's a flappy looking thing with a hole in it. I don't even know what it's called, but it's over there on Macro Rails because I put it on there because my friend Michael and also Stuart both swear by these things. They're and I'm sure a lot of you have them. It just fits over your lens, and then it's got the diffusion thing above it so that you can just shoot away to your heart's content. I don't own one. I need to get one because they do look nifty, and everybody I know swears by them. But what I use is just a sheet of Mylar. If you take a sheet of Mylar and you Gorilla Tape it to the top of your speed light, and then put a rubber band through a couple of holes in the bottom and put that around your lens, that's the same thing. It's just a sheet of Mylar between your flash and your subject, and it lets the light spread out the way it normally would. And it's basically free. Doesn't work well in the wind though. So bear that in mind, that some of these devices that you'll buy, some of them are just outright silly priced for no good reason. I mean, you can find the same thing that will be sold for hundreds of dollars. You can find it from Godox for the same price, and it's the same thing. It's a piece of squishy white plastic. One of the articles that I wrote, one of the mini articles, it's really not so much an article, it's just a thought, or a few thoughts that you might want to think about. And that was the way I teach diffusion to my students. It's one of the few things that I don't tell a student that they're not diffusing the light well, or they need to diffuse the light better. We talk about it in general terms, but I wait for a student to come to me and say, I don't know what else I can do. I've done everything that I can think of to get the light right, and I just am not getting the soft, even light that I want. What am I doing wrong? That person is then ready, I think, to look at their photographs with a critical but gentle eye and try to understand the subtleties of diffusion. Because it's hard. It's hard to look at a picture and say, that needed to be diffused better or more, or from a different direction, or with heavier material. But you do start to see it, but you've got to be ready. Otherwise, you just don't see anything, and it's kind of pointless. And you chasing your tail, adding and subtracting diffusion without knowing it. So be patient and experiment. I am a huge experimenter with diffusion material. I'll take anything that light will get through is potentially a diffuser. I tell the story in the article about using a sheet from the London Financial Times, because newspaper can diffuse light, but the Financial Times is pink. It's like the color of this shirt, actually, come to think of it. And it made the worst diffuser I've ever seen in my life. But it was a good experiment. It was fun. So, anything, notebook paper, toilet paper, fresh, unused toilet paper, use that. That'll diffuse the light. I'm going to say hello to some people because we're going to be out of time, and I'll get a reputation for being rude. And I'm not rude. I'm not rude at all. In fact, I won't even leave it over there where I have to look sideways. I'll put it right in front of me so I can see who said hi. Rob Watt said hi, and he said it was loud and clear. It's a good thing because I just kept going. Oh, David's got a question. Is there a photo stacking software intended for stacking via a cell phone? My computer is dead. Oh, blimey. Photoshop. Photoshop will do it on your tablet, I know. Maybe on your phone. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I'll look into it. Blimey. Good question. I cannot imagine stacking pictures on a phone. I mean, to me, it's like, it's all hands on deck. I mean, my whole office is a mess when I'm stacking because I need all these other things. Yeah, I can't imagine doing that. Lots of thumbs up. Please be careful with those tiger beetle photos. Don't make your weevils jealous. Well, that is a good point, Chris, and it's one that I'm glad somebody made. I try to evenly spread my time between weevils and tiger beetles. I know it seems I've been heavy into the tiger beetles of late, but they are utterly fascinating creatures and just gorgeous beyond words. Lovely. So lots and lots of people have said hi. Nina's here from Atlanta. Which is wonderful to see you again, Nina. Glad you're here. And Ralph, yep, good idea putting subject matter in the title. That was not my idea. Anytime you hear a good idea, it's probably curly toes, and that was the case here. He said, you know what would be a good idea? And I said, nope, because I haven't had one. And he said, put the title in every week, what you're going to talk about. And that way people will know not to come. Which seemed backwards, but there you go. It was his idea. Harold's here from Norway. Fantastic. And Sam from sunny South Africa. I'd have known that had you not even said it. What you need to do is, after a while, stop saying where you're from and see if I remember. It'll be a sign of my dotage when I start to forget. Like Marsha, I have no idea where Marsha is, but it's in Boynton Beach, Florida, which I also don't know where it is, but I'm glad you're here, Marsha. This is your first visit, unless I'm mistaken, and that's wonderful to have you here. Please come back. Ralph, yeah, already congratulated me on putting the thing in the title. That was curly toes, but thank you. And let me see. Lots and lots and lots of thumbs up. No sound. Oh my God, when was that? Oh, Lance. All right, you just got yourself a demerit. I keep a book with little black stars for demerits, and Lance, actually you get 2 for that, for saying no sound after I've just done the piece. That's bad. Yeah, you wouldn't believe the nightmares I have. It's like, you know the nightmare that everybody has of showing up at the grocery shop and realizing you forgot to put your trousers on. I mean, I've never actually done it, but that's the dream that you have, you know, one like that. Now for me, they're just doing an entire live stream before I discovered my microphone was cut or turned off. Shocking. Wake up in a cold sweat. All right, so Bill's here from Seattle. Bill, I hope you're back to 100% in the pink. You deserve to be. And congratulations from Art to Patrick on winning, and from me to Patrick on winning. And Grandma Dragos also says congratulations. You didn't hear that story about the post office? Yeah, okay, I'll tell you another time. I don't want to keep making jokes about my friend's name there. That wouldn't be cool. And there you go. Baconmeister's here, and Bud made it. Fantastic. Hey, Bud. I did not get in touch with that person because time got away from me yesterday, but I'm going to do it today. So there you go. David Green. Dragons are back in Yorkshire. I think they're probably not. I must be missing the point there. Yeah, I hate that when I miss the point. Susan's here. Greetings. And from Transylvania, Romania, Sisakan. Welcome back. I was just looking at one of your pictures yesterday from a previous competition. Very nice, very nice. Helen's here from the West Midlands, and our second person from Georgia is Bud, also from Atlanta. And the big message just came up on my screen saying, now would be a great time to insert an ad. Now would be a terrible time to insert an ad. I'm saying hi and goodbye to everybody. All right, let me see. Everybody is being so nice to everybody else. Did I reveal the mystery lens on Saturday? Yes, I did. I revealed it on Saturday, but I revealed it under sworn secrecy. I wasn't allowed to record it. Well, I did record it for them, the people in the black suits. And yeah, it was a reveal of sorts. I didn't tell them everything I now know, but it was enough to give them a good idea that this is an exciting development. The big reveal to everybody, when I'm allowed to talk about this, is coming up fairly soon, and you are absolutely going to want to hear what I have to say about it. Trust me on that. Let me see. Everybody is saying hi to Baconmeister and congratulating the winners. Good. That makes me feel good. And everybody in Chicago says hello to us. I think that's special. That's a lot of people. Well, say hello to all of them from us. Why don't you do that? That would be good. Who said that? A proud liberal said that. Okay, brilliant. Okay, let me see. Any questions that I'm missing? Is compositing discouraged or even permitted? It is absolutely permitted. You may composite. You have to reveal that you composited. If you do something and don't fess up, it shows up when we look at the pictures anyway. But yeah, you have to tell us if it's composited. And depending on the subject, there are some times where a composite is really not an issue, and the picture will win or not win based on the picture. Then there are some where it's kind of implied that, for example, if we did a bees in flight, that would be, Bruce would win it already. I'd give him the prize right now. But we did bees in flight. If you composited flying bees from non-flying bees, I would say that was not really in the spirit of the competition. But otherwise, if it fit, that's fine. Use your own judgment. You're all adults. And it's at the end of the day, it's how I judge it, and that's completely random. It's not completely random. All right, let me see. I'm going to have to fly through here. Yep, and Bud nailed it. Permitted, but must state it, and that's all there is to it. Okay. Oh, I was going to tell you. You won't believe who I heard from. Allan got in touch. Yeah, he said he's out now, and he doesn't hold a grudge about what I did. So that's fantastic. He said the food was actually better in there than it was at my house. So I fear he may come for a visit sometime this summer. I do hope not, but it's possible. All right, so I think that's about it. Oh, no, there's a question. Nope, that was the question I already answered. What temperature is clean light? Oh, did I say clean light? I didn't mean to. It would be daylight, sunlight, daylight, 5800. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just so long. By clean light, I mean non-mixed source light, not incandescent and LED, that type of thing. Flash is great because it's sunlight. It's the same full spectrum light as you get from the sun. The only thing that's blocked from flash is UV. So that you can use flash and sun together all day long. You just can't do that with tungsten. But that's a whole different subject. Did anybody have any questions about were you just asleep while I was doing the talking about the diffusion? I think it was an interesting subject. We may have covered it all though. Michelle is saying hello to the daytime live stream people. That's us. We are both day and night time. All right. Well, I'm glad you came by, Michelle, if you're still here. It's always good to see you. I love our Thursday afternoons. To me, Tuesday nights is a different thing from this. This is just, it's pretty intense. You guys ask some tough questions. I like it. May I have an identification of step length for Amscope Plan 4X, says Demetrius. And yeah, well, it would depend on a few things, but I think most people would be comfortable with about a quarter of a millimeter, thereabouts. I mean, use the calculator. That is always the best thing to do. Use the calculator and put in your camera the sensor size and distance and step length and all that, and it'll calculate the step length for you. But what did I say? Did I just say 250 microns? That's a bit too long. Probably 150 thereabouts, just to have lots of overlap. I haven't used the 4X in a long time. What am I thinking of? No, at 4X, you probably need even shorter than that. 80, I would use with a Mitutoyo. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not doing well today with numbers, am I? I'm been reading too much Chat GPT. Oh, David just had a diffuser delivered during the live stream. No crap. It's a Lumpner flash. Lumpner flash diffuser. What a bad name though. You can't hardly pronounce it. Should we look it up? That would be rude. No, I need to focus on what I'm talking about. I've never heard of it. I'll look it up though. You must think highly of it if you've ordered it. Is that Mylar sheet Mylar stencil material sold on Amazon? It's actually, I don't think it is, because that stuff is only matte on one side. I looked at that. You have to go all the way at Amazon to the end of the Mylar, and they'll have rolls of this. It's called plotting medium. It's inkjet medium that's made of mylar, but you'll notice it's got the matte surface on one side and on the other. Yet the stuff you're talking about, I think it's got a shiny side and a matte side. But I mean, somebody responded that yeah, it was just the same thing. So you have more information than I do. But by the way, the glasses are back in, the stereo glasses. Jump on it; they won't be there for long. If you're in Canada, you're going to get shafted on them though, because they're like $100 or more, $170, but they're the same price down here as they always were. So go and get them before they're all gone. Amazon eyeglasses. In fact, they're over on Macro Rails. What am I talking about? Go over to macrorails.com and look for them, and they'll be over there. And yeah, order them. Okay, so the question was, I'm going to use an Amscope Plan 4X and Carl Zeiss Semi Plan 3.2X for stacking, along with Elnickor 52.8 on insects. I'm asking where to start regarding step length. Well, the best place to start is by shooting a few practice shots. No matter what the calculator says, the goal is to have enough overlap of your images so that there isn't a band of softness between images. And no matter what the calculator says, when I start with a new lens that I haven't shot before, or any new system, I'll do a test run using a computer chip or something, and I would urge you to do that. It's a good way to learn it too. Somebody just splurged and got themselves a Leiwa 90mm 2X for his birthday. Congratulations, Chris. Happy birthday. Leiwa makes some good lenses, I hear. Yeah. I wonder if I'm going to get to see any of their lenses this year. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, so that's the answer to the step length thing. And Chris is going to compare it to a reversed 50mm at 3 times. That will be interesting to see. 3 times magnification is about as far as I would want to push that Elnickor. It's not it doesn't shine above that, but it does below. It's fantastic. You'll love it, and it will win, I believe. It's flatter than any camera lens. Okay, so let me see. Anything I am missing? Michelle, you really do. I saw it and I'm having to bite my tongue. I don't know what she saw. What did you see? You better be biting your tongue. Let me see. I think we've covered everything. My Romanian grandmother was Grandma Dragos. The lady at the post office wanted to know why my grandma moved to Romania, or Rome, I think. We won't go there. We won't. I'll just get in trouble. For all I know, she's a photographer and watches this. I'll never get my stamps again. Okay, so there you go. I've got to head on. We've run over a little bit, but that's okay. Thoroughly enjoyed this. What setting do you use for white balance on your camera? Somebody asked me. Well, I don't really think about it very much because I fix it in Lightroom. I mean, if I'm shooting natural light outdoors, I just shoot the cloudy thing, and if I'm indoors, it's always flash, so I just leave it on flash. Doesn't matter what you put it on. If you shoot raw, you can correct it. And I do a little bit of correction, so yeah, flash. And dragonflies, somebody said, yep, dragonflies, I agree, dragonflies. It's always a good answer to anything the question is. What setting do you use for white balance? And then the answer was dragonflies. Okay. Grandma says, thanks for shipping the Mylar. There you go. I may not have seen your message. Everybody that was on my list got it. I have since discovered one or two people who were not on my list who didn't get it, but I've got a little bit in reserve for anybody I missed, so don't worry. But yours, Grandma, is coming. I did mail it. It was an ordeal because you have got the strangest address. I didn't recognize any of the names. One of them looked more like a date than a street name, but yeah, it was confusing. But we got it figured out. Larry, did you get my message, Larry? I think maybe I'd left you a message anyway with a question in it. So there you go. Is inkjet coated? Well, this paper is, or this not paper is. Yeah, it's double-sided coated with something or other. And Larry says you can just look for double matte, and that is the name on the box, double matte mylar film. Okay, I'm tired now, and that's it. That's everything. Chris, happy birthday. Baconmeister, get well soon. Michelle, thanks for coming by and visiting. Bud, thank you so much for everything you do, but especially today for being our moderator and bouncer at the door. And yeah, I think we've covered everything. We got a lot done in an hour. Thanks for coming, and have a fantastic weekend. No presume this weekend, just lots and lots of photography. And yeah, by next week I'm going to have some pretty stellar pictures to show you, I think. So plan on coming on Tuesday, and we'll look at pictures then. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. It seems to count. And yeah, and if you enjoy any of those articles you're going to go read when you're going over there to sign up for the newsletter, tell a friend and say to your friend, go over there and look at that, because that will help too. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough asking for stuff. I'm going to go. You guys have a great day. Take care. Stay safe and be well. Oh, hang on a sec. This happens at the end because I see a message from Keymaker Coils. Yeah, you got a 20X Keymaker. Do me a favor. Get in touch with me over on Discord, and we'll talk about your 20X Amscope lens. It's not going to be good, so have a seat. I'll see you over there. All right. Take care, guys. Oh, Fusion 360. Sorry, I saw another note. Still trying to work it out with Josh. He's been super busy. As soon as he's freed up, you'll know about it immediately. I'll post it everywhere. But it's soon. I'm ready for it. Everybody's ready for it. Okay, we'll see you there. Take care. Bye.